We continue this week of Locked On Coyotes with more player reviews as we go through the key players for the Arizona Coyotes. And on today's episode, we are discussing Lawson Crouse and how good he was for the Coyotes, what kind of role he took, and what kind of future he has with Arizona. All in today's episode of Locked On Coyotes.
You're Locked On Coyotes, your daily podcast on the Arizona Coyotes, part of the Locked On Podcast Network, your team every day.
Welcome to the show, everybody. I am your host, Robyn Leonio. That is Carl Pavlik right beside me. On this episode of Locked On Coyotes, we got a good episode for you. We are talking Lawson Crouse, giving a review. Before we get into that, though, I want to thank everyone for making Locked On Coyotes your first listen every day. We are free and available on all platforms, which means we will never, ever have a paywall. All right, let's get into it, Carl. We are talking Lawson Crouse today, another key player for the Arizona Coyotes in this rebuild. He had, I guess we can go off right at the gate. He had his best season as a Coyote.
Mm-hmm.
Best
Yes,
season
he did.
as an NHLer.
Mm-hmm. Yep. Definitely a great year for Crouse. Had a career high 20 goals. Not quite a career high, but second best season with 14 assists, 34 points. That's a career high, all in 65 games. Season was unfortunately cut short with a hand injury, so he could have just kept on building off that. I do think that, maybe could have gotten another 5 goals. Definitely could have set that high in assists.
Yeah, definitely could have seen that as well. We wouldn't have known, because again, that's asking what if questions, which it's very hard to gauge.
Yeah.
But with the assist count, he tied his best.
Oh yeah. Sorry, I was looking at 17. That was with the Roadrunners, so I do apologize for that. He tied his best, so yeah, he should have gotten like one more assist if he had done that. So that should have been a pretty new high for him. Just unfortunate that like we talked about with Keller, so many Coyotes players like missing out on career years of the first year of a rebuild, which is kind of good to see.
Yeah, it is good to see, and I think, he's one of the guys that answered the call of, getting, of trying to improve and trying to, build off this rebuild. That's kind of the point, right? I think he also used his physicality in a way. He used his size to his advantage. Let's put that. I was
Definitely
looking before we recorded. I looked, I was like, we're talking Lawson Crouse today, right? And then I brought up his profile page, and I looked 6'4", 215 pounds. I'm like, oh, he's big.
Yeah, and he hasn't always played that way, and he definitely did. I think the team was definitely a more physical team, and he showed that physicality, but he also, scored goals. He's what you want in a power forward.
Yeah, absolutely. I think that's, and I think we're going to keep going back to it. I think a lot of that has to deal with, a change in coaching. I think that really helped him, try to use that to his advantage, use his size to his advantage. And like you said, a true power forward. I was impressed with, how he was able to be a presence on the ice.
Yeah, definitely. Also, we should point out he played a much bigger role in the penalty kill this season. He finished top of the team in forwards and penalty minutes, 4th overall behind 3 defensemen. Next highest was Louis Eriksson. Crouse played 113 minutes, 26 seconds. Erickson, 94 minutes and 4 seconds. So that's a pretty big drop to the next highest forward. He just so much time being dynamite and still somehow managed to get 20 goals.
Yeah, absolutely right. And that, I mean, like, and again, I guess we'll have to point back to, like, I think that size helped him out a lot.
Yeah.
I mean, you're not going to put your, a 5'9", you know, 100 nothing pound, kid on the penalty kill, unless he's like super fast and can use a stick. But
Yeah, or he's Clayton Keller, who did play some pretty big penalty kill minutes.
it's true.
But I mean, Crouse definitely, like, he had a role in the system. He played that role well, and I think a lot of guys are going to go in and they're going to see, and they're like, all right, this is what we do. We come into the Coyotes, we play the system, we get some good numbers, and maybe we get another contract someplace else. If you're rookies, you just keep developing and growing. But like, I think Crouse is a poster boy for, kind of what Bears, Coyotes team is.
Yeah, I think that kind of fits in. I mean, like, not just Bear, but also Bill Armstrong. Bill Armstrong has been getting these bigger players, right? Obviously,
Yes,
Krause has
yes.
been on the team already, but like, like, you're seeing a pattern here of that's the kind of player that Bill Armstrong likes.
Yeah. And I mean, the team still has its Clayton Kellers. We're doing a lot of draft talk, and I think that Cooley is someone that could very well be drafted by the Coyotes. We will be talking about that more later, of course. But it's not all big guys, so there is a nice mix of like skill. But I do think that like Bill Armstrong wants to make sure that the team is physical, that they do not have unprotected skilled players. And whether or not you think that is a concern with the Coyotes in the Tocchet years, I'm still not 100% sold on the concept that they needed it, but it seems to be working, and everyone seems to be playing more comfortable. And that's players like Keller and players like Crouse.
See, I think there's a difference though in the case with the Coyotes now versus the Tocchet era. I think now it's a lot more power forward, and then it was just like grinder. Like, these guys are just went to go hit.
Yeah, it is definitely a different kind of team, but this is also a very like kind of ramshackle team put together by just pieces that can be gotten. When the Coyotes acquired Roussel, Erickson, and Beagle, I don't know how much of that was part of the grand scheme of what Bill Armstrong wanted the Coyotes to be, and part of it was that's just the cost of doing business.
Yeah, I mean, that very well could be the case too. But I think all in all, I liked, like I said, I did like what I saw from Lawson Crouse this year, and I think he used his physicality in the right ways.
Yeah, definitely. And especially with physicality, we're seeing it all in the playoffs now, where sometimes that crosses the line into dirty. I don't think Crouse did anything particularly dirty this year. Was he suspended at all? I don't think so.
Might be. I think there was a game. I think he might have been suspended the game, if not mistaken.
Maybe. Not that I'm seeing coming up in the news stories. So yeah. So I wouldn't say that there was anything wrong with Cross's game. Just has to keep doing what he was doing.
Yeah, absolutely. And I guess when, there's more. I mean, we still have to get a lot more to with Crouse. I think we talked about his highlights, but we also, as any other season review, as what we've been doing so far, we also got to get to some of the things he needs to improve on, and we're going to get to that in just a moment. But first, a quick word from Carl.
So I want you to imagine you dipping your finger into a plastic tub full of birthday cake frosting. Now open your eyes and realized that it was only 150 calories and it had 16 grams of protein. That's what it's like to have a Built Bar Puff. The birthday cake puffs are really good. They are a very nice treat for the summer. So if you want to have something that tastes good and is good for you, try one of the birthday puffs. And like all of the other Built stuff, they are covered in 100% real chocolate. So you get your nice little taste of chocolate, which, we all kind of need right now. Everyone wants chocolate. The playoffs are happening. It's very intense. Sometimes chocolate just helps you calm down a bit. All Built Bar Puffs are covered in 100% real chocolate, and they're only 150 calories. They have 16 grams of protein and only 9 grams of sugar. What I want you to do, go to Built.com and use the promo code LOCKED15 to get 15% off your order. That's promo code LOCKED15 for 15% off at Built.com.
So let's continue this episode of Locked On Coyotes with Robyn Leonio and Carl Pavlik. Once again, we want to thank everyone for making Locked On Coyotes your first listen every day. For your next listen, be sure to check out the Locked On Now podcast. They got nightly recaps of every NHL game with analysis from our local experts. It is free and available wherever you get your shows. But we're back to Lawson Crouse. We got to talk things we wanted to see more of.
Mm-hmm.
And I mean, like with most players that have been crucial, like I think we're gonna, especially the player that's been around. I think leadership is gonna be one.
Yeah.
But what else do you got?
I do think that this season kind of felt like the end of talk of playing Crouse with Clayton Keller.
Mm-hmm.
Like, honestly, it feels like Lawson Crouse kind of established himself as a role. Like, he's going to be, hopefully going to keep doing the 20 goals, but I don't think he is a top line player.
No.
I would like to see, just him continue to improve and kind of see what he can do. I would, I just kind of think that we may have seen kind of his ceiling as, definitely a playmaker.
Yeah, I think he's definitely fits in well as a what I like to call like a floater middle six forward.
Yeah.
He can obviously he is definitely capable of being a second line winger. But
Yeah.
like in case people down in the third line need some veteran presence, you set him down there and then he fits there perfectly as well.
Yeah. It did. If I recall, he spent a fair amount of time with Phil Kessel, and I do kind of wonder if not playing with Kessel next year, if he's going to be able to replicate his offense.
Right.
Just because, Kessel, he wasn't making goals, but he was getting the puck where it needed to go. And usually that was like off Krause's stick into the back of the net. And, if you don't have someone like that, is he going to still have the same offense? I like the instinct of, going to the front of the net and like looking to get that deflection. But I'm just not sure that the Coyotes are going to have someone who could readily do that the same.
Yeah, I think he definitely needs a perfect setup man, because I think I was thinking back to last year when it came to Lawson Krause's problems with shooting, and a lot of them were he held on to it for several seconds and tried to find his own spot.
Yeah.
Right. And I think that kind of got to his head a little bit because, again, he thought of taking it himself, which obviously he seems like the guy that definitely needs helpers. And you had a guy like Phil Kessel that was huge. So yeah, I think he definitely is going to need to work on that too.
Yeah. Should point out, I'm just looking at stats right now. He did tie his career high in shots on goal, 131. Previously, though, that was over 81 games. He only played 65 this season, so definitely an improvement. Last season, this goes to what you were talking about, only 70 shots on goal. in 51
I mean, a lot
games.
of that was a confidence problem because
Yeah,
he had so many chances that in like the first half of the season where like he would shoot and he would just freaking hit the post and go out, and I think that's what ended up lowering his shot count later on because he's like, oh well, it's not going in, so
yeah, and he definitely rebounded really nicely. Like I do think that like after a very bad season, he was a player with something to prove, and like I think he's got we have a better idea of what his ceiling is going to be. But there's still areas for him to continue to improve. I just think it may be we may see maybe a little bit of a decline next season just with different line mates, or hopefully his game just improves and he's able to compensate for that and continue to evolve. He's still young, so anything could happen.
he's still young. He's going to be turning 25 this summer, so
Yeah,
like,
not even in his prime. Just
mhm.
what a great initial find from was this a Don Maloney trade?
Oh God, I'm trying to remember what that one was.
It was also Boland. So no, I'm thinking that's a Chaika.
Yeah, yeah, it
Yep,
was. Um,
Chaika.
but this something that reminded me about, like, he just reminded me of like his early years and that kind of acquisitions. Um, just think back to how it was when he was acquired and later on assigned down to Tucson.
Yeah,
Remember that first line? I'm not sure if you remember that first line. That first line of that year was Lawson Crouse, Dylan Strome, and Nick Merkley, all first round picks. Of
yeah.
like, you're just like, what?
That was amazing AHL line. Um, and wow, yeah, that Lawson Crouse has had one of the more interesting careers with the Coyotes because he was acquired in 2016. He has been with the team for a while,
Hmm.
despite only being 24, about to turn 25. Um, and I feel like he is a big part of it. I think we know like kind of what his role is going to be moving forward, but you know he is still going to be a big part of this Coyotes team.
Oh yeah, no, he like I really think so, and we're gonna get to that in a little bit and talk about his role, but is yeah, but I think should he continue to improve in all aspects, and that includes leadership, that he will be a major part of the Coyotes, and we're going to talk about that as well as get his grade in just a little bit. But first, I want to tell you guys about our partners at BetOnline because they continue to be the number one source for all your betting needs and sports info. Find all the latest odds, news, and sports developments, including this year's basketball playoffs, Major League Baseball scores, fights, next season's NFL futures, and of course, don't forget the Stanley Cup playoffs as the second round begins this week. BetOnline is your continued source for all of your sports wagering information from live betting to playoffs, esports, and more. Head to the website today or use a mobile device to learn more about the trends and action. BetOnline, where the game starts. Thanks again, everyone, for making Locked On Coyotes your first listen every day. Also, be sure to check out the Locked On NHL podcast. From first round matchups to each Stanley Cup kids, Locked On NHL covers the playoffs like no other. Hear the latest news and opinions from local experts every Monday through Friday. It is also free and available wherever you get your podcasts. But let's go finish off our conversation, Carl, on Lawson Crouse. It's
Mm-hmm.
time to assign a grade to this forward. I'm gonna have to think about this one. I did like his rebound. I think he, after last year and his bad string of luck. I personally don't think he was good enough to get in to earn an A on my standards. I'm going to
Sure,
give him a
sure.
B plus.
Okay. B plus. Um, Very, very similar thought process on my end. I love the rebound. I think that he had a great season, but like you, I would have wanted just a little bit more. So I'm going to give him a B, but a high B. So yeah, let's keep it a B.
Okay, okay. I mean, yeah, we're roughly in the same in the same range here. We love the guy, and I think he definitely, again, he had his best year, but as we said in previous, he's not even his prime yet. So like, we're hoping down the road we can get the student A later.
Yeah, yeah, definitely. I will also say this. And this is something that I caught myself doing on the podcast. Um, Lawson Crouse and Clayton Keller were injured at around the same time, and Clayton Keller's loss just really overshadowed the loss of Lawson Crouse. Um, and I feel like if that had happened like way earlier, like if we had gone like a month without just Kraus, like we would have felt like what his loss was, like a
Hmm.
lot more, like as an individual player, because I do think he was an important piece of the Coyotes. But just like with Clayton Keller, it just kind of overshadowed it. And it's like, oh, what is wrong with the team? Is it Kraus? Is it Keller? Is it both? Is it just the world right now?
I mean,
What?
again, just take a look at the grades we assigned to to the two players. It kind of gives you an idea about that, right? We gave a B to
Yeah.
B plus to Lawson Krause and an A plus unanimously, all three of us, including our guest Cam, and we're like, yeah, I mean, Keller was the MVP, and we was obvious when we lost him, and yeah, you're right. We forgot of the fact that Krause was gone at the same time. um,
Yeah.
um,
It was one of those things where I just remember like catching myself and be like, "Oh yeah, there's also no Lawson Krause." So that should explain a lot. And he did leave a very big hole. Like the Coyotes had a 20 goal scorer again. It's kind of a rare thing for this
the
team.
Coyotes had 3 20
Yeah.
goal scorers.
Yeah, we were able to just kind of forget one and not forget it. I felt like we gave Kraus a lot of his due during the year. Just
Hmm. Just towards
his,
the end, we kind
yeah,
of forgot because the other guy got injured.
yeah,
The other guy is because one of the three got injured and overshadowed his injury, and then another one of the three finished strong.
yeah, yeah. It was definitely like one of those things where like it just kind of all got caught in the shuffle. But I, like we've said, Kraus is going to be a big, big piece of this team. The Coyotes currently need to re-sign him. He is a
Pending
restricted
RFA.
free agent.
Yeah,
Yep.
pending RFA with arbitration rights.
Oh, I hope it doesn't go to that. He has he is coming off a 3-year, $4.6 million deal. That some get 1.533,
AAV.
etc. Yeah. I think he is definitely due for a raise. What do you kind of think for the contract?
I do think he's due for a raise, although I think with the amount um, with his like stats and everything like that, and like I think this, even though this was his best year, I kind of don't want to give him term yet because I want like because you want like I think he needs to get a show me deal.
Yeah, I would
Um,
agree with that.
because I think in a case of a rebuild, you need to make sure that you know this season wasn't just because he was one of the best players on the ice because there weren't very many good players on the ice,
Yeah,
or or maybe he's just improving his game.
yeah,
It's tough to be in this position. I do think. Um, I'm trying to think how it would work because as an RFA, he can receive a qualifying offer. The question is, how much would a qualifying offer? How much of a raise is a qualifying offer to 1.533 per year?
What is it like? I don't know. It's like some percentage of that. Like it would definitely be like lower than what he is actually going to get. I will say that. I completely agree with you. It's a rebuild. You do not want to financially commit yourself to a player in a rebuild. That's just kind of, the way the situation is, especially a player like, you know, he had his best year. He had his first 20-goal year. Like I said, he was also on a line a fair amount with Phil Kessel.
Mm-hmm.
I definitely think he's worth a raise. I can't see
So
when
a
he is.
qualifying offer would give him a base salary of 1.75 million a year, which I think would be too low.
Yeah,
I think 2.75 a year.
275 a year.
Yeah, two. Yeah,
How many years?
I'll give him 2 years. 2 years at that.
I do three. I do
You
two
give him a
years at
third
three.
year. You give him a third
Yeah.
year.
No. I would give him 2 years at $3 million.
Oh, 2 years at 3 million. Okay.
Yeah.
Okay, I can
Yeah.
see. Yeah.
Yeah. 20-goal year. Like I will reward a 20-goal year. Um, I want more, but he did well. He seems like it's a very important part of this team. You absolutely do not want this to go to arbitration.
Nope.
I think Craig Morgan has tweeted that Lawson Crouse is one of the few players that will not be traded, just because like he fits the mold of the team.
Mm-hmm.
Like, and you should reward that guy. You should give him a contract that will make him happy and make him like show like, yeah, they have faith in me, but I'm gonna make them like see that I am worth so much more than this.
I think some of that money will also be performance bonus based.
Sure. Yeah, definitely throw some performance bonuses in there. That's fine.
Like it's like,
Uh,
hey, if you reach 20 goals again, we'll throw in some extra money.
yeah. I see like no harm in doing like a bunch of performance bonus stuff. Like, why not? Like a
Because the
guy like
Coyotes can
Kraus.
afford it, right? Because they will not go over the salary cap.
Yeah. Like if you gave Lawson Crouse a deal and you're like, hey, finish top 5 in goals scored and we'll give you an extra million. Like freaking done if you're Lawson Crouse. Heck, even do like top 3. Like have
Mm-hmm.
him chase Clayton Keller for goals. That would be good for everyone.
Oh, that would be fantastic. I would love it. You have a
Yeah.
skilled player and a physical player trying to battle for most goals.
Yeah. And like the monetary reward can definitely like do good things. The only times it's like very unfortunate is when you see like I think Jack Eichel had one year where he was like 0.01% off from getting money because he had to be in like the top 50. I don't remember the specifics, but it was something super pedantic like that, and you're just like, oh, that's always unfortunate, but I mean, it's the contract you signed.
Absolutely. But yeah, I think it'll be like I said, so I think so like give him 2 years at that, and then and then from that point on, you'll be able to see what he can provide to the team. I think, and again, as we said, at his age, a show me deal is what works best because because I think by the end of that he will have reached his prime, and we'll know what he's really capable of.
Yeah. Although, kind of like the downside of those show me deals is since he will have reached his prime, like he'll be kind of like on the way down at the end of the deal.
Yeah. So I mean, yeah, there are a lot of. I mean, again, and
Although,
there's a lot of factors you have to go. And luckily, we're not Bill Armstrong, so like we're not making these calls. But it's
yeah, yeah. If or like if at the end of the 2-year deal he gets term, I'm not sure if it will be for a lot of money unless his game like continues to evolve in spectacular ways. In which case, I'm kind of fine with it.
there's no way he's gonna make like Clayton Keller money.
No,
It's just not gonna happen because they're two completely different kinds of players. But
yeah, like I said, unless he dramatically like evolves his game, but
I think
I think
like Nick Schmaltz's contract, it would be at the highest end of what I think Krause would be capable of making.
sure, yeah, I would agree with that.
But I mean, but that's not saying it's bad because making just under $6 million a year is still really good.
Yeah, that's still a lot of money. Like, I think Krause has found like a good spot for himself. He's gonna make a lot of money moving forward, and I think he just has all of the right pieces to have a very long, successful game in hockey or career in hockey. Knock on wood.
And especially with the Arizona Coyotes.
Yeah, yeah. For right now, he seems like he is in the perfect opportunity to move forward to success.
Yeah,
Just don't go to arbitration.
yeah. I think to finish things off on this, I see him as a part of this rebuild and a part of the Coyotes franchise moving forward, as we've been showing from based off our contract talk. However, I do not think he is a cornerstone, like key piece to this team. Like he is a piece and will be used, but not a cornerstone.
Um, I think he is. He is definitely. I think he is definitely a very important piece for the Coyotes. In my opinion, I am not sure how important he is just yet.
That's fair.
I think he still has a lot to prove. He proved a lot this year. Next year, he still has a lot to prove, and I'm very excited to see what he can do.
I mean, I guess that's another thing that we're talking about. Every player having something to prove. There we go. Krause being another player, and he
Yep.
has to do it again. Oh God.
Yep. Absolutely.
Anyways, though, we're out of time of this episode of Locked On Coyotes. If you like what you heard, don't forget to leave a review, like, comment, subscribe. If you have yet to already, we're available everywhere you get your podcasts, including on YouTube. Don't forget to interact with us on social media. We're on Facebook, facebook.com/LockedOnCoyotes, on Instagram at LockedOnCoyotes, and on Twitter at LO_Coyotes. I am personally at Robyn_Leano. You can see it spelled right below me if you are watching on YouTube. It is ROBYN_LEANO. Carl Pavlock is Carl Pavlock FFH. Interact with us, ask the question you might have, we can answer right back, or on a future episode of the Locked On Coyotes podcast. As a reminder, everyone, we got more player reviews and more season review talk coming up later this week and in the weeks to come. We're also going to start getting into draft profiles to get ready for the 2022 NHL entry draft in Montreal. So we're going to get to that also later this week and the rest of this offseason. But once again, that's it for today's episode. Hope you guys are staying safe out there. Hope you guys are staying healthy. And don't forget to howl on.